Good afternoon. It is Wednesday, July 7th. It's been doing this for the second day in a row. It's about 66 degrees, raining, wind coming in from the northeast. Last night it was blowing really good. I was seeing some good numbers on the turbine. 500, 600, 700 watts, which is always exciting. This is actually kind of moving pretty good right now. It's going between, 100 and 400 watts. But this is the second day of it, so I'd like to run a dishwasher and some other stuff, take a hot bath, because I burned my leg on 4th of July party, but at least I was the only one that sustained injuries, so better me than the kids. Stupid cake had one shot left in it, of course. But anyways, party went off basically, without a hitch. I don't know, there was probably almost 60 people back here. Whole yard was a parking lot, and we lit up the sky for about an hour and a half straight. Doled out go-kart rides till about midnight to about, 24 kids. Dirt bike rides. We did have some interesting results with a new type of firework, and I wish I could remember. It's a bang something. It's little 1-inch mortars, and they were in a red package, a red box, with a 1-inch red tube. And like the first or second one exploded the tube right in our face. We were kneeling right here, and then tried another one, thought maybe it was just a bad tube. Bam, blew up that tube, and we ended up just setting them aside and didn't fire any more of them. We just shot the big guys, and then at the very end of the show we had those three little 1-inch mortars left, so we threw one in there just for kicks, and it blew that tube up. So I actually dropped the last two in the big tubes. These are the tubes from the Excaliburs. They got just big, massive expansion chambers, or a blast chamber. It really, I trust these more than anything. I get all kinds of different mortars, but I only use these tubes because I've never had one let go. A couple of these are 4 years old. They've been screwed down for a while, and no wear on any of them. They're, very, very, very well made. If you're gonna do fireworks, be safe, man. If you got stuff like that going on, like, I don't know, I'm a mason. I'm not like most people. I get injured and it's not a big deal. I just keep going. So yeah, the show must go on. We completed the show, and my ears were ringing, and I got a little burn on my leg, which is whatever. It looks bad, but I got silver infused, basically like a whatever, one of those creams you put on. Words escaping me right now, but yeah, whatever. This is a normal day off grid where you get repetitive bad weather. Hot water heater is doing nothing today, so I actually just came back here a bit ago, filled up the gas tank on the old generator I made a year and a half back. I had to redo my exhaust again because the first pipe that I put in here was too thin and it just kept on snapping, so I cut it apart and redid it. I angled that down a little bit so that, from the road you don't see exhaust or anything, and it seemed to help make it pretty quiet. So excuse the noise. I'm gonna fire this thing up quick. Yeah, I guess being off-grid's pretty horrible. Sometimes solar panels don't charge, and you gotta, put $2 in your custom built 3000 watt DC generator and you gotta pull a cord. Oh geez, that was horrible. No, I'm just kidding. Being off grid is awesome. I love it. I haven't had a power bill since April 2017, or a gas bill. I told them shut me off and take the meters off of my house, and they weren't happy about it, but they did it. So yeah, that's that. I don't know. Panels or the turbine aren't making very impressive numbers, but that generator definitely can. So if you haven't seen it yet, hang on a couple more minutes and I'll show you that thing. Well, alrighty. So wind. Sorry, I got these meters are I had to change some stuff over because I blew a meter, but there's currently about 800 watts, 700-800 watts coming in from the pair of PMAs, the generator and the turbine. The turbine is currently it was just up over 200 a second ago. Oh yeah, that's kilowatt hours. Wrong meter. There we go. So it's doing something, about 150, 200, up and down. So the generator is probably only making about 300 watts right now. Let's crank her up. There we go. 1,600. My belt's probably slipping a little bit. It's starting to get old. This is about where I like to dial it. 1,800 watts, and I'll run her there for an hour or so, get voltage up over 29 into the 30 range. I haven't done an equalize in a long time anyway, so this isn't a bad thing to do. I haven't run the Jenny in, I don't know, 3 months or something. Basically just when I fixed the exhaust, I ran it for a test cycle to see if the exhaust would hold on, but so yeah, the house is only using 200 watts right now. That's probably with the, I don't know, phone chargers, TV, fridge on right now, but yeah, so batteries will be back to totally full in about 2.5-3 hours, inside of a gallon of gas. We weren't in bad shape. We were at about 25.9, 26.1, depending on the wind gust before that, which is far from bad shape. You know, getting below 24 volts is bad shape, but if we're conservative, we've got 4 or 5 days of in the green before we start having to really think about it. But I wanted to run some big stuff today, maybe some power tools. I don't know, it's a shitty day, so I'm not working, so I'm just at home playing. Figured may as well equalize the batteries. By the way, I mentioned water wasn't getting very hot. Cool thing about my system, it's really complex, you know, but I've got a summer and a winter system, and it's very easy to switch back and forth. I've got in the summertime, there's a solar panel that runs the water pump here, and then the water runs outside to that thermal heater back to the small tank, heats the small tank from the bottom up, and then goes to the big tank, heats the big tank from the bottom up. And then there's also a DC element in there, which is my dump load, diversion load to keep my batteries from overcharging. But I can also switch it over. this valve, which is in the open position right now, it's running to my wood furnace, and then I disconnect the vent from the HVAC so it doesn't get the house roasting, because it is July, but whatever, it's only 60 degrees outside. So I lit a fire and I'm going to warm up the water with the winter system, so I don't have to go without just because the sun didn't come up. Right now the water is currently 84.7 degrees. It was about 73, so we're up 10 degrees since I started the fire about 20 minutes ago. Once it gets to 90, it really starts to climb. Same thing with the batteries. Once they get up over 27, voltage really starts to climb. So with it already being 27.3, 27.4, I don't think it's going to take much to fill these up and equalize them. I was far from low, but since I'm home, I'll play with this for the day. So maybe I'll check back a little bit later, just before I'm getting ready to shut off the generator, but I'll be able to show you the diversion load kicking on and off, and how well that's held up. Still, you know, kicks on almost every single day, and a bunch of times, on and off, and just the heat sink is doing a good job of keeping it from overheating, and it's running to a 600 watt DC element, so there's some amps coming through that. But anyhow, I'll check back in a bit with the water hotter and the battery's full. Okay then, I'm gonna try and wrap this up before the battery on the phone dies. Battery bank is almost up to 31. Generator is still pumping. I've dialed her down to just about 1150 or so watts. Solar is doing next to nothing anymore. Didn't gross much for the day, I'm sure. Yeah, 1.3. So nothing impressive there. Brakes are on the turbine because the generator has battery voltage up above what this is set to push it to. I raised the set point on the diversion load up to 31, and that'll prevent the volts to get from getting to 31. It will then divert to the water heater if I wasn't down here watching it. There's no reason, however, to divert any energy to the water heater because we are currently at 128 volts, and I just reloaded the fire. I'm going to try and dry some of the humidity out of this basement while it's nice and cool outside. You know, and that's just one of the really cool things about having a flexible system. Yeah, it's really complex. It took me a lot of time to screw around and build and dial in, but it's really flexible. If we have shitty weather, we can fire up the generator that's purpose built just to charge batteries. That's all it does, is charge batteries. And like I said in the first part of the video, I didn't need it. I did it because I wanted to run some bigger loads, so I managed to do that. I already ran dishes, I ran some wash, I did a little bit of welding, and I'm still sitting good and pretty on voltage, and water heat is still good and hot. So I'm gonna dial this down now because we've been at almost 31 volts for about an hour. So I'm gonna dial her down to where battery voltage comes down to about, there's my throttle right there. I would like to see it come down to about 27.6-ish, give or take. Let's throttle it all the way down. And see that unlocked the brakes. So now the solar is making power, or the wind, sorry. It had the brakes on for the last 2 hours since it's been up over 29.5. Yep. I'll leave her sit like this until it runs out of gas, and we'll call that float voltage. And then once that runs out of gas, the wind will continue to basically supplement what we're using. House is currently using 169. There's between 120 and 200 still coming in from wind. So I'm going to shut this down before the phone dies, but yeah, thanks for watching. This is just a, you know, one of the realities of living on 100% renewable energy, is you have to be, if you have a little bit of spare time, if you have, you know, any time at all, you basically need to keep an eye on it. And if you don't have the aptitude to diagnose a problem and service it, and have the dedication to basically drop what you're doing and take care of it right away before it turns into a real problem. For instance, my hot water system over here has blown a bunch of times, with water heater problems, experimenting with different types of materials and pumps and power sources and so on and so forth. There's a reason why I have extra gaskets and thread seal and a wrench sitting right there, and a temperature gauge right on top, so I can see, you know. Now we're up to 129.7, so we're getting good and hot. But yeah, you know, this has had many failures. This is about the 5th or 6th rendition of this setup, and now it works really good. I can switch it over real nice and easy. If it's cold in July, such as today, I can switch it over to the wood system and start a fire, and now I've got hot air again. We don't have to wait for 2 sunny days to get it back up over 100 degrees. I can just take care of it. Oh, and it sounds like the generator just ran out of gas. So, yeah. Yep, she's out. The fans outside and the fans on this rectifier will continue to run until that gets down to 160, I believe, and then it'll kick off. But yeah, we still got power coming in from wind. 175, 209, 240, and the house is using about 170. So we're floating and still technically putting power into the batteries. So that's awesome. I did a good equalize. Batteries are super happy, and there's still power coming in enough to float and yet put just a, you know, teeny little trickle charge into the batteries. It's a final soak. So anyhow, off-grid life can be done, but you gotta put your time in. Watch it. Watch what it's doing, how much power is going out, how much power is coming in from both sources, any sources. I've got 3 sources. Average what you use, average what you can make, and plan on being able to make 5 times what you use every day. So, and then you should be fine. You know, but always have a backup. Again, I didn't need to start my backup. My batteries were fine. I did it for an equalization cycle because I haven't done that in about 3 months. I had the extra time, so I put it in and made sure my batteries are going to go the distance. They're good to go for 3 more months now. So, anyhow, thanks for watching. God bless you.
People are still going to be lighting off fireworks tomorrow. Whoa! Whoa!
Yeah.